When Jesus heard that they had thrown him out, he found him and said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered and said, "Who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?" Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he." He said, "I do believe, Lord." And he worshipped him. Then Jesus said, "I came into this world for judgment, so that those who might see, so that those who do not see might see, and those who do see might become blind." Some of the Pharisees who were with him heard this and said to him, "Surely we are not also blind, are we?" Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would have no sin. But now you are saying, 'We see,' so your sin remains." You may be seated. You have seen him, and the one speaking to you is he. I think we've all had this experience, right? The moment where we first encounter Christ, either in front of the Eucharist, as we are now, or just in a time of prayer in the chapel. We have this experience where he's saying to us, "I am God, I am Christ, and I'm here to save you," right? We can have two responses to this invitation. We can either be like the blind man who says, "I do believe, Lord," and then right away he worships him. And then we have the other side, the Pharisees, who reject this and laugh at Jesus, right? We also are not blind, are we? So they say no, right? But why do the Pharisees reject this invitation that Christ is giving to them, right? I think we've all had the experience of our own pride. And we all focus on, what is my own right? What do I see as right? We put on our blinders, can't see anything in front of us. The only thing we can see is what we think is right. Others are trying to give us help, give us invitations to help us. And we don't accept it. We just think, okay, no, I'm right, so I have to go with it. And then later you realize, no, I was wrong. In that moment, you become like the blind man. You say, I need help, and I accept Christ. Right? You lose that blinder, and now you see. Right? We have this phrase in English, seeing is believing. Right? And this passage clearly knocks that out of the park. It says, no, that's not how it should be. And Jesus himself says it later when he's talking to, I think, Thomas. He says, "Blessed are those who have not seen yet believe." So we are called to do the opposite, right? We haven't seen Christ physically. We see only a piece of bread, at least what appears to be a piece of bread. And yet, we're called to do much more. And then the blind man as well, after Christ comes to him, after he's been thrown out, as it says in the beginning of the gospel, he's at his lowest moment. The Pharisees just thrown him out of the synagogue, one of the worst things that could possibly happen to the Jews. You're an outcast now. And then Christ comes at that moment. He comes and meets him. And that's how we have to be as well. When we're humiliated in front of others, when we're trying to convince them, no, this is what's right in the eyes of the faith, and people will reject that. As we see earlier in the passage, if you read later, you will see that the blind man's saying, okay, I'm not sure if Jesus is actually the Christ, but I know that he's a man sent from God, because how can anyone else do what he's doing? And the Pharisees are saying, no, he's a sinner, he's doing this, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't back down. And that's how we have to be. We have to stand up for what we believe. We be sent out, as we do at CCD, right? We have to teach these kids what's against the culture of today. Right? And sometimes that will get us thrown out, right? Thrown out of these circles where people won't accept us anymore. And we have to be accepting of that humiliation. Because in that moment of humiliation, that's when Christ reaches down and says, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" When time is the hardest. And that's when you have to say, "Yes, sir, I do believe." So don't be afraid of that humiliation. Because in that humiliation, you will encounter Christ.